So Kevin is Senior Vice President and General Manager of Cotality, formerly known as CoreLogic.
Yes, the artist formerly known as CoreLogic.
There you go. There you go. I wish we had a symbol. A lot of you may not know that CoreLogic is the largest in terms of total number of MLS subscribers in the country. I think Matrix probably has the most.
It depends on what you are using as a metric, but as far as number of subscribers, yes, we have roughly, depending on the platform, we average about 1 million agents on our platforms.
That's a lot. So we've got some questions for Kevin today. Kevin and I have known each other for a really long time. We've both been in a number of prop tech companies, and it's fantastic that we get to work together now. We were able to bring Cotality, then CoreLogic, into this market with the Alamance merger. When Alamance joined us 3 years ago, they had been using Matrix for a long time and didn't want to change. And they were kind of on the fence of whether they wanted to join Doorify or not, if they were not really eager to, if they were going to have to use another platform. So we worked it out where our data can be the same in both and they can use whatever they want. That's what choice is about. So that's how we ended up with Matrix in the platform. And since then, we've got a bunch of people, not Alamance people, that have migrated over to Matrix because they really like OneHome, or they really like Realist, or they really like some other aspect of Matrix. So Kevin and I had a chance to sit down for a second and talk about the future of Matrix and OneHome and Cotality. I guess my first question is the thing I'm most impressed about. But when you look at Cotality's investment, we're talking about AI, maybe specifically in OneHome. Tell us a little bit about that and why you think that's important for the future.
Well, I think we got to start with what is AI and where does that come from? Because some of you may, or I've said this a number of times lately, so I don't know if you've heard it, but I play golf. My friend came to the putting green with a AI putter from Callaway, and I'm like, does the putter putt for you? Does it show you the line and being able to do that? It's like everybody slaps AI onto anything and thinks that's just the latest and greatest. And here at Cotality, formerly CoreLogic, we have been doing AI, artificial intelligence, for over 40 years. It just depends on what you're talking about that is. It's where is that data? Because at the ultimate baseline is Cotality is a data company. We're the largest aggregator of residential property data in North America. And so we use that data for AVMs, automated valuation models, and been doing that and providing that to loan originations, banks, mortgage companies for quite some time. For those that don't know, if they know who the Case-Shiller Index is, that's published every month. That's Cotality. We provide that, being able to show what the housing index is based upon the data that we do. And so that data creates those models. And now we're moving into large language models to be able to do that. But to have that and to have good AI, you have to have good data to come from. And so that's the baseline. And that's why I kind of start there. And so it also shows that you have access to a lot of AI tools within Realist, and that now propensity to sell, propensity to buy. What is the, average home price? CMA is actually a part of, it can be considered an artificial intelligence model to tell you what you should price a home at. And so that's the baseline of what we've been doing. But what we got coming up and what we've done with OneHome, similar match as far as being able to upload photos and having consumers being able to upload, being able to see properties that are similar to that bathroom or kitchen or an outdoor space that I would like to be able to have there, reimagining a space, removing all of the furniture, placing something from the local furniture mart that's down the street in High Point, all the furniture manufacturers that do that and stage their things so people can go to Furniture Mart. You can put that stuff right into your home and being able to choose that furniture right away. And so we're seeing a lot of interaction with consumers on that, which is keeping consumers engaged directly with their agents on OneHome.
That's really the point of that, right? Is the stickiness of keeping them back in that. Actually, the point of my next question too, also OneHome. Let's stop for a second and talk about how that fits. So Matrix is the kind of desktop platform that's most people think of when you think of CoreLogic or Cotality. OneHome's the app. Tell us how that fits, Kevin.
So I consider, we call it the Matrix ecosystem now to make it easier. And there's 4 parts to it. So the first part is Matrix, where you put that's your database that you're doing your daily work in. It has 2 parts. We believe in a responsive design. So you can go to Matrix on your desktop. You can type it into your phone or tablet and being able to access at a responsive design. But then we also have mobile version called MLS Touch And that we bought a mobile company, the leading mobile company up in Canada. It is the leading real estate app in both the app and Play Store. So you have access native app to Matrix. We also have that to OneHome, which is next is OneHome is our client collaboration portal, which allows agents to interact, send listings, being able to have consumers look at properties, search for properties, all within your environment. It's agent invite only. Nobody can go to onehome.com and just all of a sudden be able to search for properties. They have to be invited by their agent. If they do go to onehome.com, they're asked to, who is your agent? So you're not going to lose them that way. But we're actually, with OneHome, we're the sixth largest portal in the United States for active searches. We have 22 million consumers that come to OneHome on a regular basis, 22 million consumers who are interacting with their agent. There's only 5 portals that are out there that are beat us, and those all use. You've all heard of them. They're the top portals out there, but we really want to keep those consumers engaged with their agents and being able to do that there. And the fourth pillar in the ecosystem is Realist, as you mentioned. So we take all that data that I just talked to you about as far as aggregating that data that we do at Cotality, and we give that to you at your fingertips in Realist. So anything that you want to know about that property, you can go to our Realist database and being able to search in there. And so that's how we keep everybody in there. The last piece, which I don't know if you're going to ask me about, but OneHomeowner is our newest piece that we're doing. And so how do we keep that client sticky with you? As you mentioned, I like to say that I'm trying to incorporate that a little bit more of with that. How do you keep that consumer with your agent after the transaction? Here's a stat. I know I was on stage 2 years ago and told you we were putting this product together, and thank God, it's launched and ready to go. But 88% of consumers say that they would use their agent again, yet only 13% do. And what happens when you have that sale and 5 to 7 years down the road, or the 4 Ds happen, diamonds, diapers, divorce, or death, and they need to make a change. And where do they go? They just go to whoever they've been talking to. But how do you change that mentality from being a real estate agent to a home advisor and advising them on their homeowner journey throughout their life cycle? And so that's what we're doing with One Homeowner, is creating that conduit of continually telling them what's going on with their home throughout that process. And all the cool things about it is when that consumer is doing whatever they do within OneHome, are they searching for new products, or are they looking at what their home is worth, etc., you get notified. So if their real estate window is open in their mind, and you can give a call and say, hey, Matt, I saw you were looking at what your home value is. Are you looking at adding on a kitchen or doing something, or are you looking for trying to find something else? What can I do to help you with?
That's really interesting, Kevin. A lot of people are in that space. Like, it's a pretty red ocean to try and keep that buyer in touch with the agent. That's a new play at it. It's not a question I had put together, but those are some huge numbers on the portal. Consumers using that every time they click something, they tell the system their preferences. Tell us about that exhaust data and how you guys plan to use that in the future.
We don't plan to use any of it. We give it all back to you. That's the awesome part. So
yeah, I don't mean how you would leverage it in a bad way. I mean, how would you use it in the product?
So everything they do, the agent gets a ping on. So that's the biggest thing is, now when you get into the AI questions, that's the next piece, as far as we are building an AI chatbot, even help more. And so what gets sent back to the consumer to be able to do that? So obviously, if it's post sale and they're searching for, I'm located in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have 2 kids down here in Raleigh, and I got 1 kid up in Boone. And, am I looking for an investment property up in Boone, or, in Blowing Rock, or somewhere up there to maybe for him? Or am I looking for an apartment here that I can have for my 2 kids that are here in Raleigh? What can I do? And all of a sudden that's giving, it's prompts that being able to do that. So any of those prompts that are going on, we want to get that back to the agent and being able to do that. And that shows up on their dashboard. But the last thing is, what do you do with it? And so that's the next phase of being able to manage that.
Yeah, that's super interesting. That's where I think a lot of our thoughts are at Doorify. We have stats coming in from everywhere. CentralLock, Showing Time, you guys, all of the front end vendors, all the consumer portals, Realtor.com, Zillow, et cetera, dozens of them, literally. And what we're learning is which matter. It turns out that the most, I don't know, a recent finding was looking at traffic events and then do they correlate to a sale event, or does something go pending right after as a spike on the portal or on Zillow? And it turns out that the most direct indicator is realtor traffic. So inside Matrix, inside Paragon, inside FlexMLS, if we see an increase on a particular property, that often precedes a sale.
That's been, and those are amazing stats. And here's my favorite one that I like to talk about because you're like, everybody wants to be the number one portal out there. So there's 360 million consumers that access the number one portal, Zillow, out there on a monthly basis. In a good year, so I'm going to use easy math or bigger math, because right now I think we're hovering just under 4 million transactions a year, but 5 million transactions is what we typically do. And even if you had both sides of the transaction, that's only 10 million people. Okay, now let's even make it higher. So let's you have a husband and wife or a partner or anything. And so that's 20 million people that are going to buy a home in any given year. Yet you have 360 million that are looking at homes on Zillow or any of the other portals. And so how do we have those high intent buyers and agents? And that's what we are, buyers and sellers. And how do we have those and access and tracking those and making sure that the agent knows this is truly a good place to spend my time? And that's what we're doing.
That's super interesting. I can't wait to see more of that because I think I said earlier that the internet reduced the cost of data and AI is reducing the cost of knowing or cognition, they say. Interesting. So we've got a few minutes left here, Kevin. I've got two questions. One is about, I guess, tangentially about AI. But if we can look out, you just said you were here 2 years ago, and I asked you a similar question. Looking out when we're sitting here 2 years from now, what is the definition of success for a broker? How do you think that will be impacted?
I think the big thing is you have for a regular real estate broker, you have everybody trying to get into this space. So we'll break it down like, what happens now when Rocket Mortgage buys Redfin? And now they're in the broker space. And how does that work? And they have the fourth largest portal as far as traffic is concerned. And where does that go? And how do I keep up with that? And I think that's the big thing of changing that mindset of they need to be able to change that mindset of I'm just trying to do this transaction and how can I keep that person for life? And it's funny is everybody's always trying to find, downstream services, whether that's mortgage, insurance, title. But what do you do between the time you sell that property for them or help them buy that property and they're going to that next one and where are they going to be? And that's where they're going to really make a difference. And how do they continually tell what is that investment that they made? How much are they making on it? Oh, great. You're doing a great job. You have $100,000 of equity in there. Would you want, are you wanting to update like we talked about when you did that? Are you looking at selling? What are you going to do? And really being that home advisor is what's going to truly differentiate just been somebody that's just buying and selling homes.
I think I heard you say that it's the same. Like 2 years from now, that's true today, right? So the fundamentals of the business, AI, ML, all that stuff notwithstanding, is just not the thing to focus on.
No,
Fundamentals.
no, in my mind, for full
That's what
disclosure,
Sky was saying, to interrupt you.
full disclosure, I was an agent and broker 20 years ago. I mean, that's, the biggest thing is so I've been in your shoes and I understand that, a consumer is making their largest purchase. They want to have their hand held through that process to make sure that what's going on right. AI is not going to reassure them. They're not going to go in there and go and have Gemini tell them or Chat GPT or whatever service they're going to do and to make them feel comfortable as they're about to put, their life savings as a down payment or the most amount of money they're ever going to buy, whether it's their first, second, third, fourth home. And so how do you arm yourself to better hold that hand and get them through that? That's what it is. And then wait, they're going to do it again. And so being there for them is so important. And so getting that knowledge and having that information is key number one of being successful and maintaining that relationship throughout.
So maybe use AI, as Sky was saying, to help you make those relationships or spend more time on those relationships and less time on less value-added work.
100%.
We're pretty close to the end here, Kevin. I want to ask you one last question before we move on. And before I do, if you go to doorifymls.com/survey, you'll see our active survey results, and Matrix currently has a net promoter score of 35.5. 48% of the people responding to the survey said that they loved a Matrix. Matrix has the lowest number of detractors of the three platforms that you have in front of you. It's the largest number of subscribers in the country. A lot of people use Matrix and rely on it for their real estate business. If you've not used it, you, as a Doorify subscriber, can switch from any of the platforms to Matrix for free. And you can add Matrix as an additional platform, as about 400 of our subscribers have done. So you can use two. Costs an extra $25 to do that. So just recently, Kevin, you and I were talking a lot about security. We have more fun things to talk about sometimes, but I know that Cotality is really taking a leading role in keeping this data secure. Tell us a little bit about security and Cotality's commitment to that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think it's really important for everybody here. So how many people have changed their password in the last 90 days? Not their MLS password, any passwords.
Nobody.
I got one,
Okay, got
two,
one
we got a few
person
hands.
admitted to
Couple
doing
more.
it.
It's so important. Security right now, it doesn't matter whether or not you're using, I'm a Marriott Bonvoy guy. Sorry, I know we're in a Hilton, but it requires multi-factor authentication, which I think is key. And being able to do that and securing your email, your bank account, any of that information can be used to get into a back door. And so we're a really big proponent of that. And it's as one of the folks that we contact with, make it fun and make it funny. And he calls it the danger finger of how fast you swipe or hit yes is really can hurt you and being able to get into it. So we make a really big deal about it. Not just, we don't just talk about it. We practice what we preach. We actually send out fake phishing emails inside our own company. And if you click on it, you have to go take a remedial class on it. And if it's 3 strikes, you're out. Unfortunately, that's how serious it is to be able to do that. And so we really take it seriously. We also create a library of videos, very short videos from 30 seconds to 5 minutes long that you can share with your members. They have full access to it. And I actually share it with my parents, my in-laws. Everybody should be aware of what's going on from a cybersecurity standpoint, whether or not it's the phishing emails, whether it's the DMV text you get if you don't turn on MFA. We're going to put in some other security measures, CAPTCHA, and other things inside the platform. So we made it mandatory. We spend over $30 million annually for cybersecurity within Cotality. Because Cotality is a large company, we have mortgage, title, insurance, the GSEs, the government entities. So we do have to have a higher level of security, but we take it very seriously and we want to make sure everybody else is too.
That's part of the value proposition, and I wanted to get that in there, as well as all the product stuff that we're so excited about.
Thank you.
Kevin, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you inviting me. And if you want, please go try out Matrix. We really are proud of it. And I think you will be too.
Thanks a lot. Kevin Greene from Cotality.
Thank you.